Hello, everyone, and welcome to Niagara University's virtual open house. My name is Bridget Gorman. I am a proud member of NU's class of 2020 and the newest member of our university's admissions team. An open house is such an exciting part of the college search, and we're so grateful that you've let us into your homes on this beautiful Saturday morning. To tell you more about what makes Niagara University special. Our session is being recorded, so you'll have the opportunity to rewatch it, catch up on anything that you may have missed. I would like to ask anyone who is not speaking to please mute your microphone to avoid some background noise. And as soon as you can, please comment in the chat section with your name and high school. We value relationships very much here at NU, and we'd like to get a better sense of who's here with us today. Since we plan to dedicate plenty of today's program to answering your questions, please feel free to begin typing your questions into the chat section as early as you'd like. We'll get to answer as many as we can in just a little while. Now that that's out of the way, we can move on to fill you in on what makes Niagara University different from any other institution you'll come across. I honestly cannot believe that I was in your exact shoes just 4 years ago. Back then, I knew that college is a place you go to help you grow. The last thing I wanted to do was graduate the same person that I was at the beginning of my journey. When I found Niagara University, I found a supportive campus community that was passionate about my success. I found faculty that showed me how to translate my classroom learning into real-world experience. I found ways to connect with others, push myself outside my comfort zone, and become a leader. I was able to find my confidence, my clarity of direction, and my heightened sense of purpose. Through my involvement with the Niagara University Student Government Association, I got to meet some really incredible people, including today's featured speaker, my dear friend, Cheyenne Freely. Cheyenne was our student body president in 2019 and graduated with undergraduate degrees in political science and international studies. She was also a pre-law student at NU and is now studying to become a lawyer at Georgetown Law. Some of you may recognize Cheyenne from our TV and billboard ads. And it's my pleasure to turn the spotlight over to her to tell you all about her Niagara experience. Cheyenne?
Thank you, Bridget, for that introduction, and good morning, everyone. First, I really want to commend all of you for attending today's open house. As a student who had to adjust to online learning this past semester and is gearing up for another semester of online learning, I understand how hard it can be to go from engaging in-person interaction to an online medium. But your attendance today demonstrates your dedication to finding a school that fits you and fits your needs. Many of you may have an idea of what you want your college experience to be like, from the social experience to academics, athletics, skill building, and more. I am here to tell you from my own personal experience that Niagara is dedicated to providing you with the college experience you envision for yourself. As a university ready and willing to adapt to student needs, Niagara is dedicated to being that perfect match for a wide array of students. As Bridget previously stated, I graduated with a Bachelor of Arts in Political Science and International Studies, but also minors in pre-law and criminal justice. If any of you have any questions about those programs, please feel free to ask me. I will drop my email in the chat, and I always love to talk about my experiences in those programs. But thinking back to my time as a junior in high school at Mount St. Mary Academy, I remember feeling very overwhelmed. I was getting all these emails and mailers that don't stop after you pick a school, by the way, and I did not know what to look for in a college. Niagara, however, stood out. While other colleges present students with their programs, class sizes, or clubs, Niagara asks. Readily evident in our amazing academic exploration program, Niagara asks what it can do for you and how it can help you reach your own forms of success. Don't see a class you think you'd be interested in? Design your own class as an independent study with your professor. Don't see a club you think you'd be interested in? Make your own. It's really just that simple. In my own time there, I was presented with so many opportunities that helped me reach my goals. Given these opportunities and associated skills, I was able to get into my first choice law school and my first choice summer internship, which I just finished up yesterday. With a plethora of academic and extracurricular activities, including moot court, mock trial, and as Bridget referenced, student government, I was prepared for law school in ways that my peers from bigger schools unfortunately were not. The biggest example of this came about this past semester when I competed against over 90 other students from a wide array of schools, many of which were Ivy League, in Georgetown's annual moot court competition. Despite the stiff competition, I relied on my experiences in the pre-law program at NU and managed to become one of the 4 finalists. In addition to the career skills and academics, Niagara is a place where you will build social bonds that will last you a lifetime. Whether it be through clubs you join, the dorms you live in, classes, or social events, Niagara offers an amazing social experience and overall, a well-rounded college experience, which is tailored to you. Fond memories and success during and after graduation are not unique to myself. I know of many NU graduates who are successful in their respective graduate schools or careers, and who are also extremely close to their friends and mentors from NU. This is the norm that NU can tailor to your experience and to your goals. This whole process of researching schools, attending open houses, and picking a school can be very overwhelming. So what I want you to take from this is what Niagara can offer to you. It's what it offers to all of its current students and what it has offered to all of its past students. Why Niagara? Because Niagara offers you a customizable and enjoyable college experience that will shape your personhood, guide your clarity and direction, and give you the skills necessary to succeed. Again, thank you for attending today's open house, and if any of you have any questions, please feel free to shoot me an email. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Cheyenne. It's great to see you and hear about all the incredible success you're having. Now, before I turn the mic over to our provost, I just want to remind all of you to keep typing those questions into the chat window, and don't forget to add your name and high school. First and foremost, you're going to be evaluating colleges based on the quality of their academic offerings. I can confidently say that you will be enriched with an outstanding academic experience at Niagara University. I remember coming to NU as essentially a blank slate, but through the one-on-one relationships I had with my professors and the advisement I received when it came to registering for courses and staying on track with my education, I could not have asked for more. And so the person who is charged with making all of that work so well is our Provost and Vice President of Academic Affairs, Dr. Tim Ireland. Dr. Ireland, can you please explain to our guests what makes the academic experience at Niagara different from any other institution we'll visit?
Sure, Bridget. How are you today?
Good, thanks.
Hey, Cheyenne. How are you?
I'm great. How are you, Dr. Ireland?
I'm all right. Are you down in Washington? Are you home?
Not yet. I'm still in Williamsville. Not sure when I'm going back.
It's going to be a bizarre fall, isn't it?
Definitely.
Yep. So anyway, to those who are joining us this morning, welcome to Niagara University's open house. I'm really grateful that you're taking a little time out of your Saturday morning to sit in and listen to what Niagara has to offer. And so, as Bridget said, I'm the Vice President of Academic Affairs and the Provost here at Niagara University. I've been here for a long time, my friends. I came here in 1996. And I started as an assistant professor in criminology, criminal justice, and I currently have the incredible honor to serve the academic sector as academic vice president. And so I wanted to kind of run through a couple of things that I think are really important and tie directly into the question that Bridget asked me about what makes Niagara University unique and different than many other institutions around the country. And so the first thing that's really important is the relationships that form between faculty and students. And how do we do that? Well, we set up a ratio very intentionally between students and faculty that is relatively low, right? And so as you can see on the slide, our ratio is 11 to 1. So for every 11 students that enroll at Niagara University, we have 1 faculty member. Now, this doesn't mean all your class sizes are going to be 11 or 12, right? But it does mean that you will, during your time at NU, have an opportunity to get to know the faculty, and the faculty will have an opportunity to get to know you. Look, I just I had a little question about how some of our people who live in Southern Ontario may be able to cross the border during COVID. And so what I did was I tracked down an alum who graduated back in the late 90s, has become a friend and a colleague of mine. His name is Phil Young. He worked on the border crossing, and I tracked him down. I gave him a call. And we had a wonderful conversation yesterday about his experiences and his work on the border. and then his efforts to work with us to help solve some of these complicated problems for us. And so what I'm telling you is that these relationships form while you're here, and they literally last a lifetime. And I have personally thousands of alum who have taken my classes over time, right? And many of them I remain in contact with in some way, shape, or form. You do get small class sizes. I think the largest sizes we offer here range about 40, 45. And as you move through your curriculum, by the time you get into your specialized courses, they can be as small as 8 or 10 students. And so you have this wonderful intellectual journey with a group of really dedicated students around you, as well as really dedicated faculty. And so that dimension of the NU experience is really important to us. Another piece of the puzzle that we identify as critically important is the relationship between theory and practice. So I know Isaac. He's doing really well. He's a wonderful student here at NU, and left a legacy of relationships and friendships. And one of the critical components of the NU experience is theory to application, or theory to practice. And so we firmly believe that you should have opportunities to engage in the classroom and then apply in a professional setting, right? And so we have internships, clinicals, practicums, student teaching, and field experiences for our students. And the vast majority of students take advantage of that. But it's not only through clinical placements, internships, field experiences, and practicums that we allow or facilitate or pursue theory to application, but we also do it in the arena of faculty-led research. And so we are really good at this, and we exceed the national standards as it relates to faculty-led research. How do you get involved? You come onto our campus as a first-year student, you find the faculty member that you're interested in doing work with, and you ask him or her what they are doing. And they will talk to you for hours about their passionate research. And if you're interested, oftentimes you get an opportunity to begin working on projects in your first year. But you got to raise your hand, right? So this slide is a shot of Professor Harmon. Professor Harmon runs our American Sign Language minor here at NU. She's an extraordinary person. And we have watched the ASL minor blossom across campus, and it has become the most popular minor on campus, largely because of the efforts of Professor Harmon and her ability to connect with students in an incredible way. And our students then leave NU with a really important additional skill set that is absolutely valued in the marketplace. And so we call these high impact practices, right? Research with faculty, internships, clinicals, field experience, student teaching, all designed to connect you with a career when you leave Niagara University. And so let me just flip my page here. As you think about and puzzle through your choices, right? Please know that if you end up at Niagara, and we certainly hope you do, right? That we have one of the best graduation rates in the region. And why is that important? Right? As students make decisions about where to attend college, finishing in 4 years is really critically important. All of our majors, every single one of them, is designed so you can finish in 4 years. And we work very hard every fall and every spring as we set the academic schedules to make sure that we have all the courses that we need to put up and offer so that students can degree complete in 4 years. It is a hallmark of the Niagara University experience. And so whether you major in biochemistry, marketing, sports management, or criminal justice, right? We have set up a curriculum, and we've designed that curriculum for you to finish in 4 years. And so you can earn your degree, as you would expect, in a 4-year window, and you can fully participate in faculty-led research if you desire, and you can have internships and practicums if you desire. And as we push through this COVID era, and we look forward to September of 21, we certainly hope we'll be able to reactivate our study abroad program. And so you can do all this and still have opportunities to study abroad if you so choose and finish in 4 years. And so I got to tell you, I can talk about Niagara University and the wonderful success stories at Niagara University for a prolonged period of time. And what's really wonderful about what's happening at NU is that those outside of the university are systematically recognizing that we are on the move and we are making systematic and significant contributions, right, to the academic life. And so what we call the return on investment, right? And so you can see on this slide that external entities like Money Magazine, U.S. News and World Report, and others are systematically identifying NU as a really good value. And it's because we do a wonderful job in the classroom and we provide students with a litany of academic experiences outside of the classroom. So again, I really appreciate you taking the time to listen in this morning. I'll be on this event through its completion. So if you have questions, put them in the chat boxes and I'll do my best to respond. So thanks a lot, Bridget. I appreciate the time.
Thanks, Dr. Ireland. It's great to hear from you, and I'm sure we'll be hearing a lot from you during our Q&A session at the end today. I want to take a quick moment to let our guests know that they can get a very detailed information on specific academic majors by connecting with faculty and students during our upcoming online series of major discussions. We have 7 of them between August 18th and the 25th. You can visit niagara.edu/major discussions to register. Now we'll turn our attention to what you need to know about admissions and financial aid as part of your college search process. Joining us today for an overview on admissions is our co-director of first-year enrollment, Stephanie Buchkowski. Stephanie, what should our guests know about navigating the college search process and getting into their best fit college?
Hi, Bridget. Thank you so much. And thank you everyone for being here today, sharing your morning with us. As Bridget stated, my name is Stephanie Buchkowski. I'm one of the co-directors in the Enrollment Management Office. So we're just glad you're with us here today. First, I would like to say I really hope that your junior year ended on a high note, considering everything that was going on. This is quite a different year in terms of the college search process. So we're here to really help you through that. So just a little bit, I want to talk about our personal admission process, how we work in terms of applying, merit scholarships, different things like that. And then I will turn it over to Katie, then she'll go a little more into the financial aid. So, so in terms of Niagara, how we work with the admissions process is we are what's considered a rolling admission university. So as you're looking at other schools, you want to make sure you know exactly what their admission policies are and if they have any deadlines. We technically don't have really a deadline for the application. We still recommend applying early, of course, but I would say, really we probably get the bulk for applications between Halloween and Thanksgiving time. But I would say the earlier the better, so I highly recommend that. Enrolling also means that we are constantly processing the applications as we get them. So every student that applies is assigned a specific admissions advisor or counselor who's going to be the one to read your application. So we really get to know you through the application process. It's really the time to sell yourself, certainly share all of the things you've been involved in through your high school career, in school, outside of school. We have a very holistic approach to reading the application, so I very much recommend adding all those things, whether it be in your essay, activities, resume, things like that. So as we do get all those things with your completed application, the rolling admission also means it only takes us about maybe 3 weeks or so to let you know if you've been accepted. So we move pretty quickly. It's not really a waiting game, which is nice. You kind of know everything with that. Now, what we do when we're doing the review also is we will take your cumulative average from the end of your junior year. Okay, we like to see about a B average or so, I'd say, so like probably 80, 85. There's a little different requirements for nursing, and I'll touch on that a little bit after. So that's what we look for average. Then SATs. So obviously a very different year with that as well. They were canceled. So if you were able to take the PSAT, great. If you're scheduled for the ones taking place, there's one coming up in August 29th, and there's September, October, all the way, I think one offered every month. So please, if you're signed up for those, and if you're not, I highly recommend doing that as soon as you can. But for that, so if you do submit scores, we like to see roughly around a 10, 20 or so. And then if you try the ACT, about a 22 on there. Please note, though, that even before COVID-19 happened, we have been a test optional university. Okay, so that is something that's not new to us, that you absolutely have the opportunity, unless it's a competitive program such as nursing that we have, you do not have to submit scores if you don't want to. And please don't think that your application is looked at any differently if you are a test optional student. We, like I said before, very holistic, so we look at everything. So you have that option, completely up to you what you choose to do. And regardless, if you submit scores or not, we automatically, because we are a private school, so most of the private schools will do this. And basically it's mostly, we want to keep Niagara as affordable as possible for you as well. But when you do apply, we will automatically qualify you for merit scholarship money. And merit money is simply based on you and what you've done. So it's strictly your average and your SAT if you decide to submit them. It has nothing to do with financial aid or anything like that. So we automatically qualify you for that. We'll take those two numbers or your average and figure out what that would be. Your merit scholarship, the scale for that for this past year, and it may increase for 21, but just so you kind of have an idea, it started at $10,000 and went all the way up to $23,000 a year. So that is guaranteed money all 4 years. It is known with your accept letter. We tell you your scholarship amount right away in there as well. So that's strictly, like I said, just based on you and what you've done. So it has nothing to do with your FAFSA and that, which Katie will talk about after this. And then in terms of applying too, we are a member of the Common App, which I'm sure you guys have heard of. So we're always free to apply as well. We do have our own personal application on our website too, so you're welcome to apply that way. But either way, like I said, it's always free to apply to us no matter what. Now I want to touch a little bit, not to go into too much depth, but just so you know, if you do have any specific questions, please shoot them to me, maybe in the chat box. I am the School of Nursing liaison with the admissions office. So because it is a little bit different program, I just want to touch on it a little bit. Our nursing program is the only competitive program that we have. So if anyone here is interested in that, it's very important for you to know that this past year we offered 90 seats and we processed roughly about 600 applications. So it's certainly very important, like I said, to apply early if you can. It does require SAT scores, okay, for the nursing program. This is not a year to have a hard line, really, so we're going to understand if you haven't taken them. We will wait on those scores or look at different guidelines if a student maybe isn't able to take them. So don't worry about that, but just something to know for sure how that works. But so being competitive, a little bit higher requirements. So we like to see at the end of junior year, probably roughly about a 90 plus and above, and about 1100 on the SAT or 24 on the ACT. If you do not have those exact numbers, that's an ideal situation. Please do not hesitate to apply. We look at everything. So we strongly recommend, your having very supportive letters of recommendation from possibly like a chemistry teacher, biology, something like that. Your essay is very important. Why you want to be a nurse, could be very important. An essay in general is very important all the way around, no matter what program you're looking at. Because that's really, like I said, our best way to really get to know you. So that 250 word or less essay, is very important. So all those things are all taken into consideration. So we look at your whole activities resume and all those things, as I mentioned as well. Now, as this is coming up now, with this very different year, as you're looking for the college search, and trying to find the best fit for you, we know we are open for visits now, which is great. But you haven't really been able to maybe go to those college fairs or really, be engaged maybe more with your guidance counselor and things like that, just because things have been limited to you now. So just something I'd like to mention, kind of a little bit of a plug for something I want you guys to keep your eyes open for. Please watch your email for an event coming up in September. We have put together essentially is what's called like a workbook for you. To really assess yourself and find what is the best fit college for you. Kind of doing a lot of digging and assessing what your strengths are, what you really love doing, how things have shaped you, external influences, those kinds of things. So it's something called 12 North. And we just really, really want you to watch your email for that. There'll be an event coming up in September that we will really kind of go a little bit deeper into it. And it's going to be something to really, it's just us from Niagara giving you something to help fill that void in general and helping you find the best college. And also, kind of learning more, a lot about yourself as well. So those are definitely some things I want you to look out for. But yeah, so we're open for visits, like I mentioned. So they have filled up very fast. We have added some additions, and from what I could tell this morning, there's still some available through August in the morning. So please take a look. If you want to come see campus, we highly recommend it. We miss seeing everybody, and we've been welcoming families back, and it's been wonderful. So please try and come visit us for sure. As visiting is definitely one of the most important things you can do as well. So once again, thank you so much for being here. Like I said, you have my information here, and I'll put it in the chat box. And please, if you have questions, put them in the chat box. We really want to do have a really good, successful Q&A with you, so you leave here really feeling clear about everything. So thank you, and enjoy the college search, and we hope to see you on campus for sure. So Bridget, back to you.
Thanks, Stephanie. Our admissions office is definitely there for everybody throughout the entire admissions process and the decision process. She'll be around here with us, with our other co-director first year enrollment for the Q&A session at the end. You can also email our team if we're unable to get to any of your questions at admissions@niagara.edu. Next up is the person I know that all of our parents on today are very eager to hear from. That is our Director of Financial Aid, Katie Kosis. Katie, what can you tell our guests about applying for scholarships and completing the free application for federal student aid?
Thanks, Bridget. Hello, everyone. Good morning. My name is Katie Kosis, and I am the Director of Financial Aid here at Niagara University. I'm also a very proud alum. So today I'm just going to go over just a brief overview of kind of the things that you're going to need to know for financial aid here at Niagara. As Stephanie mentioned earlier, we do have the merit scholarships. Those range between $10,000 up to $23,000, which is our highest for the trustees scholarship, as you can see on your screen there. So again, I know Stephanie already went over the requirements for those and how to obtain those. I just wanted to remind you that, as she stated, these are based solely on what you have done in high school and have nothing to do what your financial need is. So those are something that based solely off of that. And we also, if you're thinking about potentially transferring in, we do have transfer scholarships as well that range from $10,000 up to $17,000 currently. And these are the scholarship amounts for this current year for 2020-21. Those, they could potentially change as we move into the fall of 21, and we'll definitely keep you posted on those if they do change. So besides merit scholarships, the next step would be to file your FAFSA, which is the free application for federal student assistance. The key word in there is free. So please don't pay to have your FAFSA done. You are able to do this on your own through the federal website. You just, and I of course forgot to put it on there, but you just go to studentaid.gov and you can complete the FAFSA there. This is really the driving factor in determining the eligibility for aid, any other aid really, above and beyond your merit scholarship. So again, your merit scholarship, whether you earn, let's say, $10,000 a year or earn $1 million a year, you would still be eligible for that merit scholarship. The rest of your financial aid is typically based upon the results of the FAFSA form. The FAFSA form will ask for both student information and parent information, income, assets, how many are in the household, how many are in college. All those things go into the federal process in order to determine what your financial aid and financial need would be. If you are looking to attend Niagara in fall of 21, then you would need to fill out the 21-22 FAFSA form. That opens up just in a few months, actually, October 1st of 2020. That application will be open for you to go ahead and complete. It will be based upon the 2019 taxes. So hopefully you have those completed. If not, because I know extensions were given out, hopefully you get those done shortly or are able to estimate what your taxes would be for the 2019 year. Please make sure that you really get those applications in for the FAFSA. I recommend by Thanksgiving personally. I know Stephanie mentioned that as well for your admissions application, and that we get most of them between Halloween and Thanksgiving. Same thing goes for the FAFSA. It opens up October 1st. Please try to have that in by Thanksgiving. The reason I recommend having it in by that time period is so that we are able to then put together a financial aid package for you and have those go out in the first round when we start sending those out. For the FAFSA form, like I said, it's a combination of parent and student information. So I do recommend that both parents and students fill it out together. It is in the student's name, but you will need typically that parent information. So make sure you set some time out to do it together. It'll take about 45 minutes the first go around, the first year that you're doing it, to make sure that you have all the questions answered correctly. So once you fill out the FAFSA form, the schools that you're applying to that you list on the FAFSA will receive that. And then we can start putting together your financial aid package. So that's the third step. And when we, here at Niagara, we start sending those out in early January. We, take, as I said, we hope to get that most of them in by Thanksgiving. We take that month of December to review all of them, make sure a FAFSA is valid and it has all the correct information on it. And then we put together the financial aid packages and we start sending them out right after we get back from our Christmas break in early January. And that financial aid package that you receive will include your merit-based scholarship that you were awarded through the admissions office, which they inform my office of, any need-based grants, either from the federal government, from the state, and from the university that you might be eligible for. And it will also include the loans from the federal government, whether it's subsidized or unsubsidized, would be in that financial aid package as well. So you're going to receive that package. It will include the cost for the upcoming year, that for fall of 21 that you're planning on attending. And then you'll be able to see, what that financial situation would look like. I also highly recommend to start looking for outside scholarships. This fall, this winter, start looking to see what you might be eligible for. The applications for those typically don't start opening up until, January, February, and then a lot of them are due, March to May is the typical deadline for a lot of those outside scholarships. And what I mean by outside scholarships would be Community Foundation of Greater Buffalo. There's one for Rochester. If you work at Wegmans, or there's a lot, or American Legions, there's a lot of different places that have scholarships for students to go to college. Please apply for them. There's websites such as like FastWeb or scholarships.com, and those are great, but those are on a national level. But there are so many scholarships, local scholarships right here in Western New York, and of course the local communities that you're in as well, that offer opportunities for students to apply for money. Some of our community foundation students that come in, I've seen up to $6,000 for each year. So it's definitely worth the time to search for those and to apply. We also have our own endowed scholarship search engine here at Niagara. It's called SOS. As soon as you're an accepted student, you actually have the ability to start looking at those and applying. The new application would open up January 1st for the fall 2021 year. I know that's a lot of information to kind of throw in a short amount of time. So if you do have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. You can actually either throw your question in the chat here, or if you think of something else down the road, please give us a call, 286-8686, or email us at finaid@niagara.edu. We're not actually in Seton, but we are in the Butler building. So we are right next door to the health services or to the campus store, whichever one you might be familiar with. But again, please give us a call or email if you do have any questions, or put your question in the chat and I'll be happy to answer. Have a good day, everybody.
Thank you very much, Katie, for continuing to be a fountain of knowledge for current and future Purple Eagles. There's a saying at Niagara that where you live will change your life. Coming from Fairport, New York, just outside of Rochester, I can tell you definitively that living on campus is so much fun and actually improves your academic profile. It's also pretty great when you have that 8 a.m. and you don't have to calculate your commute time. But rather than steal her thunder, I'll let the Director of Residence Life, Kim Fenton, tell you more about what you can expect from the Living Learning Campus here at Niagara.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Bridget. And Bridget just graduated. She lived in our apartments and all the way right up through. So Bridget's got some good experience too about what all of our residence halls are like. So thanks again for being here on this morning in August when hopefully the weather's nice out and we've got some time to do some stuff outside. So thank you for being here. Just wanted to start off just by telling you a little bit about our residence halls on campus. So we have 7 different buildings on campus. They range from the corridor style, typically what you think of as like a freshman dorm, all the way up through apartments. And we've got single rooms. We've got these little houses on campus where we house our living learning programs. So there's a lot of different options, and each building kind of has its own personality. There's different kind of communities that take up in each different building. Like Clay Hall, for example, ROTC and the theater program have both kind of taken on Clay Hall as their home. So each building has its own kind of personality. We can house about 1,400 students here on campus. This year for COVID, of course, we've reduced our capacity to make sure that we have less density in the halls, but we're still offering single rooms to anybody who needs one for COVID purposes. So we are still making sure that that's a priority for us. Our first year students live in Seton and O'Shea halls. Those are our 2 tower buildings, and they live all together in first year student communities, and then they have staff members on their floor who are trained specifically to work with them as first year students. They are assigned roommates as first years, but if they know their friend from high school that they want to live with, we'll certainly honor those requests as well. And we also have a 2-year residency requirement, and that's for students who are under 21, who don't live within 50 miles, or are married, etc. So we have our students live on campus for those first 2 years, unless they meet those other criteria. They're going to commute from home, etc. And then why live on campus? You know, as Bridget said, she had a good experience, which I'm really happy to hear that, especially, you know, right after her graduation. And so I had a student once who said, and he summarized this perfectly, that this is really a once in a lifetime opportunity. You never get to do this again. You never get to have that experience of, you know, all your friends are kind of living in one hallway or in one building. You get to go to dinner with all your friends, you know, as you go. You get to have everybody right there to study with as you, you know, maybe you have a test coming up and you've got classmates on your floor in your building. So living on campus really is the center of the whole student experience at Niagara. Residents have more time to devote to studies. Like Bridget said, you don't have to take in commute time. And they're learning things in terms of the things that are going to help them in, you know, in your future careers, in terms of communication, leadership, community, being a member of a community, time management, coping with stress, all those other pieces. We also have done some research here on campus as well. And so we know that our resident students do have a higher academic profile, as Bridget said. So we have students on campus have a higher GPA, typically on average, than our commuter students. They're more likely to interact with faculty, assume leadership roles, attend cultural events, and then they just have a greater satisfaction with their college experience. And we've run the numbers, like I said, so 70% of our commuters graduate in 4 years, which is a good number, especially if you look around to other, you know, maybe don't want to name names, but other schools in the area. 70% is still a really great number for graduating in 4 years. However, our residents are graduating at 94%. So there's something really special that's happening in these residence halls. And, you know, it's one of those things where college is a big investment. And so living on campus is really just another way to add another level of support to you as a student, or your student when you're going through this whole process of living on campus. And so one of the things that we train our staff in, and so all of our RAs, we call them community advisors or CAs here on campus, but it's the very similar role to an RA, as you may have heard of in other places. They're all here early right now. They're doing their training. They're over across campus, you know, doing, you know, their role play scenarios and things like that for how to help students. And the way that we set up this training process, and just so that you know, our entire staff, from, you know, our student assistants who work in our office, all the way up through myself, our dean of students, our office coordinator, and every one of our hall staff members is trained in the value of student care. So that's the most important thing for our department, is how can we care for our students? So when, you know, this may be their first time stepping away from home, or, you know, maybe there's something that they just feel really nervous about when it comes to living on campus. So we train our staff to be the ones to look out for them, to learn their name in the first 2 days of them coming to campus, so that they know they've got someone here who is looking out for them. And that's what I set the standard for my staff to do with our students. The first 6 weeks are really critical to how students are going to adjust, how they're going to feel. And when they feel good, they do well academically. And that's really the important thing. We have a lot of events that happen. Of course, this year we're changing those events and how we do them, because of course we want our students to be safe. But hopefully when you get here in fall of 2021, if we see you on campus, we'll be able to kind of get back to those bigger events and bigger things. We have 24/7 assistants. So we have our community advisor staff. They can respond to incidents 24 hours a day. I also have 4 professional staff members who actually live on campus, who are kind of the adult presence, and they can be at any situation within 5 minutes as well, whether it's 3 in the morning, whether it's a weekend, whether it's a holiday, it doesn't matter. We're here for you, and we can get there to be with your student if they have something that's happening, if someone gets sick or anything else that might occur. And then we also have a very close collaboration across campus. We couldn't do this on our own, and so we work very closely with our Dean of Students office, counseling services, health services, academic support, multicultural affairs, and then many, many other resources on campus to make sure that our students can do well in their 4 years. And so that's, I think, the biggest thing is residence life. We really want to just create the conditions to make our students feel good, feel well when they're students, because if they don't feel well, they can't do well in their classes. And so it's just about being in this once in a lifetime opportunity. And then just lastly about the community advisor position. So our CAs are, they're undergraduate students. They live on the floors. They have been hired as a result of a very, very selective training or selection process. And they're really the front lines for safety and retention. They do rounds in the building. They put on events. They check in with people. They do roommate mediations. They do everything kind of in between. So not only are we really proud of our CAs, but we are also always actively looking for our next staff. So once you come onto campus, we get this question a lot. Once you come onto campus, within your first year, you'll be able to apply to start working as a CA for your sophomore year. So thank you so much, and welcome again. We're really happy to have you here.
Thank you, Kim. I know that you and your team have been working extremely hard preparing for the safe return for our students, given the current environment that we live in. While we're on the topic of trying situations, I'm going to invite our next guest, Dr. Rolanda Ward, to speak for a couple minutes about the numerous ways that Niagara University is involved in addressing disparities related to diversity and inclusion. Dr. Ward.
Good morning, Bridget, and good morning to all of our guests. I'm so excited that you are here with us today. I hope that by participating in this event, you'll be able to walk away having a better understanding of what NU is as a school, as an institution, and perhaps you'll even be able to see yourself here on our campus with us. So again, my name is Rolanda Ward, and I'm a social work professor here at Niagara, and I have the privilege of also serving as the director of the Ostapenko Center for Race, Equality, and Mission at the university. The center is a place in which we tackle some of the more complex topics that are happening in our society and in our world. A university is certainly a place in which you will gain skills and knowledge to help you grab that first job after college, or perhaps to advance you to a graduate education. But it is also a place in which you get to push yourself to expand your ability to be a doer, a change agent in our society. And so at the center, we work with community folks on certain issues. So for example, this summer, as you know, everyone is being pushed to their very limits with respect to this pandemic. And over the summer, we've been working on trying to address the realities of how COVID has impacted people's lives here in Niagara Falls. And so this fall, we will have a team of students who will actually be doing some community outreach to help everyone keep safe. So how do we educate people about how important it is to do some of the health hygiene steps? How do we tackle some of the outcomes that are happening with COVID? So for example, people are starting to become homeless. And here at the university, we're concerned about that. And we want to know if there are things that we can do to help people as they navigate these very personal social justice issues. So our students in the center actually lead up all of the projects that we have at the university, from projects that we go into the school. We talk about FAFSA completion, because we know that for certain students, filling out the FAFSA is way too complex. And so we'll step in and we'll try to provide some education around that. We work with high school students to help them gain college credit before they apply to college in order to address the inequities that exist around students of color. actually graduating high school and matriculating college. We bring about 200 students onto campus every year, high school students and a few grammar students to have a conversation. We do other projects around getting people educated about voting, helping people have a better understanding about what does it take to actually get out and vote. And we also take students down to Washington, D.C. so that they can practice their civic duty and talk with congressional members about particular policies that are important to us at the center. So what I want to say to you is that Niagara University is a place where you can get involved from the very moment that you step on campus. And your involvement can be around very important issues that folks are tackling in the larger society. There's a place for you in the center. I hope that you will think about joining us in this very important work. All you have to do is to contact me, and I'll put my email in the chat function so that you can send me questions. There are lots of other things that we do, but hopefully this just gives you a sample of what you can get involved in once you're a student at NU. So congratulations on taking the initiative to spend a part of your Saturday morning getting to know us, and hopefully we'll get to know you. And by the end, hopefully we'll be a good match. Thank you so much.
Dr. Ward, we are so grateful for your leadership in connecting our college with the community in accordance with the mission of St. Vincent de Paul. We'll head back to on-campus goings-on for our next couple of guests. Up first is Kelly Enger, one of the leaders of our Academic Success Center. Kelly, what can you tell us about services that Niagara offers to students who may find themselves struggling in class at times?
Good morning, I'm Kelly Engert. So I'm our coordinator of accessibility services in the Academic Success Center. So I'm going to tell you about a wide variety of programs and services that we do have available for students. So we have a staff of over 10 dedicated professionals that really want to meet with students and help you really be successful. So we have all of our services available at no cost to students. We're also located on the first floor of Seton Hall, which is also one of the residence halls on campus. So I'll explain to you how these programs and services really work. So as far as services that we have, accessibility services is the first one, and that's also my main job. So we work with students that provide documentation to us to provide accommodations and support. So if any students out there have a 504 plan, IEP from high school, you definitely want to contact us so we can explain how our office can be of assistance. So as far as academic accommodations, that can be things like having more time for tests, providing note takers for classes, books in alternate format, those types of things. So accessibility services is one of the things we do, working with a wide variety of students with disabilities. The next thing we have are tutorial services. So a couple different things here. We do have a peer tutoring program, so that's offered for a lot of your 100 and some 200 level introductory level courses. So there's our students that have taken the courses, done well in them. You have to get at least an A or a B, and then students fill out a request form either online or in the office, and you meet twice a week for an hour. So there's a lot of support available that way. The other nice thing is that, you know, sometimes you might need a tutor as a freshman, but then you might eventually apply to be a tutor as well. So they look for a 3.0 and then an A or a B in the course. So the tutoring takes place in our office in the Academic Success Center. We also have a writing center available for students. Doesn't matter what course it is. There's both professional and peer tutors. So you sign up those appointments on your MyNU, typically 30 minutes, and they can work through any level of the writing process. So you could just be trying to get started on a paper, or you could be towards the end. So the writing center support is available as well. And then we also have a bunch of different programs that are available for students. So the academic coaching program, typically students are placed in that program if perhaps you had lower high school averages, SAT scores if you submit them, those types of things. But basically, it's to help students with the transition to college. So it's having a professional staff member, and there's 5 or 6 of us that meet as academic coaches with students, meeting once a week. really going through course syllabi, making sure students know what are going on in their classes, making a calendar, and then kind of helping with study skills, time management. It's very individualized, so we really help figure out, what you might need for those classes. We also offer academic coaching for student athletes. So freshman student athletes all meet with an academic coach. Also, if they have some difficulty in the spring semester, there's also a program for that. And any student can actually request an academic coach. So if anyone wants to meet with somebody from our office, that is available. So those are the programs. We also have courses that are offered. So critical literacy is one of them. We have a whole placement protocol where we look at high school averages in English and math and figure out what type of support students might need. So critical literacy is a course that is to help improve college reading and writing skills and really get students ready to take their Writing 100 course. We also have a math course that students might need a review of math from high school, and this course gets students ready to take a credit-bearing math course. The courses are available. We also have different staff members that can meet with students to help with a variety of different study skills, reading strategies. So those meetings are also available through our office. And so we are located in Seton Hall on the first floor. During the regular semester, we have evening hours as well. So it's kind of nice. There'll be students in our office from 9 o'clock in the morning till 8 o'clock at night. We also have a lot of information on our website, so I definitely encourage you to visit that. And then our phone number, and I'll also put my email address in the chat if anyone has any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Kelly, and for the great resources your team offers at the Academic Success Center. So we've heard quite a bit today about the excellent experience you'll have academically at NU, but let's face it, you also want to know what there is to do when you're not in class. And that's why we've brought in our unofficial Dean of Fun, Bill Newton, to offer an overview of our clubs and activities. To paraphrase Bill, there's always something to do at NU.
That's absolutely right, Bridget. Thanks for taking the words right out of my mouth. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, potential students, and of course, good morning to all of my awesome colleagues here at NU. So I just wanted to take a minute or two and talk about some of those extracurricular and co-curricular opportunities that you as a student will have here at Niagara. Certainly your time here at NU, your first and foremost priority is your academics. So we want to have a great match for you when it comes to what field of study you're going to major in or minor in. But to complement those activities and to really just round out your experience, I wanted to talk to you about some of the many clubs and opportunities and just opportunities there are to get engaged on campus. So the first two are really, I would say, the NU Student Government Association and the Campus Programming Board. You see those pictured here. And those two are, in my sort of thinking, a couple, not the only ones, but a couple of the lead organizations, student organizations on campus. We heard from Cheyenne earlier. She mentioned her student government experience. Bridget was also, I believe, a 4-year member of student government. And so it's a great opportunity for sort of that activism, civic engagement, those type of opportunities, and just general community building within your class. So within student government, each class has what they call a delegation, which is, I think, around 6 or 7 members that are voted in. So if you're in a student government organization now or a student council type organization, it's probably pretty similar to that, where they come together, they work year round during the academic year to plan events for students, to come up with projects on campus to sort of take charge with. Maybe that's an improvement to make the campus, or something within the community. And then the Campus Program Board, or our hashtag that we created this past year, hashtag CPB there, is really our lead programming organization. So they'll come up with a schedule of events every semester, usually about 20, 30, even up to 40 events sometimes. And those are events that are on campus mostly. So whether they're just opportunities to come together. So if it's a comedian, if it's a hypnotist, a mentalist, trivia nights, just opportunities for you to sort of take a breath, grab a friend or two, and come to an event and enjoy yourself. And you'll be able to do things then that when you graduate from NU, you will not have the opportunity to see a nationwide known musician or hypnotist at either no cost or absolutely small cost. And then in addition to that, we do bus trips. And so those might be a Bills game, a performance at a local theater, sledding or snow tubing in the winter, you know, you name it, we've probably tried it. And those are opportunities that might not be free, but for example, a Bills game, we'll do a tailgate and a bus trip there. And of course, your ticket to the game for maybe only around $40. You know, that's potentially maybe up to $200 event that you're getting for well less than half the cost. So again, opportunities to just get involved for sure. The next slide is kind of, the next couple slides sort of break down, and there's a lot. So, you know, sorry, this isn't even all of them, but there are over 100 organizations to choose from. So I'd like to say that you can find at least one or two, hopefully, that catch your eye, that you might have a question about. And also, I think Cheyenne mentioned earlier, we have new clubs starting all the time. Usually every year we get at least 5 to 10 clubs that start up. So those are student organizations that maybe have an academic interest. So with just about every major on campus, there's probably a co-curricular club that matches it. So these are great opportunities to get to know your fellow students in that major, perhaps, or if you have an interest, maybe you're a psychology major, but you know, you dabble in finance a little bit, so you can join the finance club. You know, you don't have to be a certain major to join a club. The next one, I believe, are club sports. So these are, you know, certainly at Niagara, we are a NCAA Division I institution, which is awesome. And those are usually scholarship-driven opportunities. But these club sports are for, you know, I like to say you and me, right? We're not D1 athletes, but we love to play basketball, and you know, we want to compete at that. So these are club sports that usually have tryouts, participate in leagues that play other schools. You know, it's not the rigor of a Division I, you know, every day we have practice at 8 a.m. type of thing. But it is still that competitive outlet if you have those juices floating within you. And there are opportunities to play against other schools and just enjoy the sport that you play. Now, certainly below that, you know, our recreation center on campus offers a wide variety of intramurals and other just opportunities to, you know, have that outlet too. All right, the next one is our Niagara Esports program. This has been on, the reason I kind of highlight this is it's been on the rise the last 2 years. They're only about 2 years old, but you've probably heard of esports by now. It seems to be taking over a lot, and one of the cool things about esports is it can be for anybody. And certainly even during these pandemic times in March, while many of our other student organizations unfortunately couldn't really meet and couldn't really do a whole lot, our esports club did more because that's the beauty of using technology. So they were able to participate in tournaments against other schools, practice, compete in our NCAA championships, you know, do things that other clubs unfortunately weren't able to do. And that's all just through the use of internet, right? So the esports club is this past January, they were able to receive their own dedicated space on campus, and it's a shared space, a shared student space. So in O'Shea Hall, which is in one of our residence halls, it's called the Nest, and it's really just a great student lounge area on one side, and the other side is the room that you see pictured here with our esports club. Now, certainly this coming fall, we're taking some steps to, you know, de-densify that a little bit, but we hope that by the time you're back here, fall of 21, we're back totally up and running. We also have Greek life. So we offer 2 sororities and 1 fraternity on campus. You know, it's a pretty small Greek life, but we kind of like it that way. And that's because, you know, our Greek life takes the lead when it comes to community service opportunities and just building community. So if that's an interest of yours, certainly we can look into that together for sure. Hey, we're right in the middle of preparing for our orientation program now for this year. So I'm looking forward to welcoming you next fall, in NSO 21. But so our office helps oversee both our summer, or what we call SUMO program, and our fall new student orientation program. So our SUMO program is in the summer, typically in late June and early July. We have sessions where you and your family would come to campus and be able to meet each other, meet other students, and start to get an idea of what academically, not start to get an idea, but really be registered for your fall classes and really feel good about making your decision to come to Niagara and getting ready for that fall semester. There's also a portion of family programs. And then our new student orientation program is for our residential students. It is for, moving into the residence halls. And for our commuter students, it is, a wide variety of programs. Dr. Ward offers a great program for us during NSO. So it's everything from informational and educational sessions to certainly that social component too of whether it's game shows or our campus favorite bingo programs, ice skating over in our Dwyer Arena, just things like community building opportunities. So with that, I really look forward to, certainly answering any questions and welcoming you next fall of 21.
Thank you, Bill, for your leadership and all the great things you do for the students here at NU. At the end of the day, you're going to college because you want to get into a career or a graduate school that you love. And that's why we're ending our day before we get to our questions by bringing in Stephanie Morris, our Director of Career Services, to tell you how NU maintains an incredible 97% job placement rate year after year. Stephanie?
Thank you, Bridget. I really appreciate it. Good afternoon, everyone. Wanted to share a little bit with you about career services and how we really support our students in achieving their career goals. And when we say career goals, we really are referring to whether that is going on and finding employment when you leave NU, graduate NU, or going on to graduate school. So a couple of highlights from our office is that we do have what is known as our Pathways program. And the goal of the Pathways program is really to develop professionalism amongst the students. So when we think about professionalism, and I'll get to that in a few minutes, we really are talking about career readiness. So how do you take what you're learning in the classroom as well as your opportunities for engagement across campus, which all of my colleagues have shared, and put that story together to help you get to your end goal. So in a few minutes, I'll go into more detail about Pathways. We also have a very robust alumni career network. So we like to say, once a Purple Eagle, always a Purple Eagle, and we have alums that are always willing to give back when it comes to helping students, whether that is finding their career direction and or engaging with students to help them build their interview skills and potentially hosting interns. We are involved in many courses. So we do meet with students one-on-one in our offices, and we talk about resume building, job search skills, LinkedIn, interviewing, employer opportunities, but we also have a really great rapport with many faculty members across the campus. So we're actually embedded into a lot of majors where typically junior, senior year, faculty will invite us in and we will present on things like resume building, interviewing, networking. So we facilitate about 75 to 100 of those skills-based workshops each year, and that's right through coursework. We also bring approximately 300 employers to campus. So whether that be through industry-specific events or a large career fair that we host, we have an employer in residence program, and this is where many of our employers come right to campus and they facilitate practice interviews, many of which are our alum, which we're always proud to say that. And then we also host a number of career panels throughout the year. So when we think about career services and what our goal is and how we get you to goal, it is not always just about skills and helping you to put your story together, but it's also about helping you to research and understand hot topics that are going on within different industries. And so we typically achieve that through the career panels. And then graduate school preparation. So in terms of career readiness, if you know, critical thinking skills, written communication skills, leadership, teamwork, professionalism, these are all areas that are developed, whether that is through coursework, whether it is involvement on campus, whether it is through a part-time job, leadership opportunities. We can develop all of these skills through a variety of different ways. We need to learn how to put all those pieces together and tell our story, because ultimately telling our story is how we get to our goal. And so the way that we help you to put these career readiness skills together is through our Pathways program. So the Pathways program is a 4-step, we might want to call this a 4-year developmental process. And it starts with assessing yourself, in which we help you to clarify your interests, skills, and abilities. And through that process and understanding what it is that we want to do, what are the skills that we have, what are the skills we need to improve on, we're able to move on to that next step and begin that exploration process. And that's where we're discovering those possibilities. And in this phase is really where we are relying on the research of different career options. We're relying on our alumni network to act as a platform for you to facilitate an informational interview. And it's also an opportunity to kind of take a look at the courses that you've been taking, what has really resonated with you, and how can we possibly turn that into internship opportunities. And that's where we gain experience. So in terms of experience, depending upon your major, an internship is probably where most students gain their experience. However, if your major is very research heavy, that might be your experience. Experience could also be having a leadership role on campus through a different club or organization. It could be involvement within the community and taking that to the next level of not just maybe volunteering, but how are you looking to make change? And experience can also be study abroad. So we can talk with you about that, come up with a plan. And then ultimately, all of these things lead to your final year, usually, you know, that senior year where you're really thinking forward of, I've been on campus for almost 4 years and I'm going to be graduating, and what are those post-graduation goals? Am I going to have a job when I walk across the stage for graduation, or am I applying to a graduate and professional school program that meets my goals? The other thing that I wanted to focus a little bit on is our events. So we have a Career Expo, which is our all majors career and internship fair. Unfortunately, this year it had to be canceled due to COVID. However, in a typical year, we have about 125 different employers that are represented there, and probably they bring between 2 and 3 individuals from their company, and about 1/3 of them are our alums. So if that tells you something about Niagara, alums always love to come back to what they knew as their home. And so this is an all majors career and internship fair. But then outside of that, we do industry specific career fairs. So a Meet the Accounting and Finance Night, a hospitality and tourism career fair, and I apologize, that should say sport, hospitality and tourism. Teacher Recruitment Day, which is a collaborative event with other local colleges and universities, and then our Greater Western New York Law Fair. As I was mentioning before, the employer panels and the information sessions, you know, we did one in the spring that talked about how the COVID pandemic has impacted the food industry, and we have some really great ones planned for this upcoming year around the idea of mental health during the COVID-19 pandemic, as well as reimagining law enforcement. So we're pretty excited. And these are great opportunities for faculty, our office, and employers to collaborate. And as many people have mentioned, Niagara is a community, so we really do depend on these collaborations to help students. And then one of our events that is really a favorite of most students is our Dining for Success Etiquette Dinner. But this year we're transitioning that event to a networking and etiquette seminar. So as you can see, Career Services kind of touches all different areas of the campus to really help students to get to goal. I did notice in the chat that there was a question regarding work study. And so the work study process is something where financial aid determines eligibility, but Krista Massaro, who is our career counselor in Career Services, she helps students with the placement process. And so the way that that works is that various offices across campus, it's about 100 openings per year. They determine if they could utilize a work study student in their office. And Krista works with the individual students that have accepted that as part of their financial aid process to interview them, place them in an office. And then through that process, our work study students actually start that Pathways program directly with Krista. So they have a point person for that. So if you have more questions, I'm going to throw my information in the chat box. But other than that, I think all of you definitely, I'll copy what everyone else has been saying. You know, we do applaud you for joining us on this beautiful day today. And we're certainly here to help you. So please feel free to ask away in the chat box. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Stephanie, for being with us today and for what you do for our students and alumni. We hope we've answered some of your questions you have about what separates Niagara University from any other colleges you may be considering. Should you have any other questions, please reach out to our admissions office at any time or just ask them now as we transition to our live Q&A session. Joining us today to respond to your questions are several members from our admissions team, along with representatives from our student support services. I'll turn it over to Ben Asher, co-director of first year enrollment, who has been tracking your questions in the online chat. Ben?
Thanks, Bridget. I know I chatted this to you, but you are doing awesome. I don't know if everybody can. We're going to give Bridget a virtual round of applause. Not an easy thing to do, hosting something like this virtually. So seriously, great job, Bridget. Love having you around the office. We're excited to have you here. So I've gotten a lot of your questions written down here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to work with my team here to coordinate getting them up on screen to address some of those questions. The first question that I want to put out there, it wasn't a question that was directly asked, but something I want all of our guests here today to be aware of, is a new scholarship that we're introducing that I'd like one of our senior assistant directors in admissions, Emily Olzak, to address.
Morning, everybody. My name is Emily Olzak. I am a senior assistant director in the Office of Admissions. I work closely with Niagara Falls, Buffalo Public Schools, and the surrounding areas. So I will put my contact information in the chat box so you can get in touch with me. So very exciting opportunity this year. It was brand new to us this year. Again, even just a couple weeks ago. It's called the Eagle Experience Scholarship. And it is a $1,500 scholarship for first year students. So you would receive it only in your freshman year. Now, there's 3 easy steps. And when I say easy, you've already done one. So the first is to visit campus or attend an event. So check, you did that today, right? The second step is to apply by November 1st. And your application just needs to be in. You do not need to have any other requirements. So remember that date in your head, November 1st, just your application, whether that is our common application or our own Niagara University application. And the third thing is to make sure you connect with your admissions counselor. So if each of us is assigned to a specific school, so make sure you connect with the person that represents your school. And once you complete those 3 things, you will be eligible to receive that brand new scholarship this year. So again, very easy. If you have any additional questions about it, please reach out.
Thanks, Emily. As she said, we, everyone in the admissions office, we all have schools that we work with, and we're going to be doing some really, really unique things this year on how we're going to connect with you. You know, some schools may not be allowing visitors to come in, so we're going to be setting up events outside of schools, one-on-one meetings, maybe even buy you a cup of coffee or something like that just to talk more. So be on the lookout for those. We'll be reaching out. Once your information gets to us, we'll reach out, talk with you, and we just really want to connect with you. So please be on the lookout. If you have questions, you can always just email the office, and we'll be sure to connect you directly to your counselor. So thank you for that, Emily. The next one that I want to bring up that was mentioned was a simple one that I want one of our students to address, and that was questioning what meal plans are like, what food is on campus, things like that. So I'm going to turn that to one of our students and one of our admissions students as well. So Jaden Wagner.
Hi, everybody. So my name is Jaden, and I'll be a sophomore upcoming this fall. I'm a chemistry major, and I'm also minoring in ASL, which is really great. So meal plans for sure. I was a resident, and I will still be a resident upcoming this fall. And there's so many different like food options, and everybody loves food, obviously. So our dining commons makes it really easy for you to get whatever food that you're looking for and whatever you're craving for that day. So basically, for freshmen coming in, you kind of have two different meal plans to satisfy your needs. Basically, one is where you get unlimited swipes into the dining commons, where you get, it's a buffet style basically. You get as much food as you want of whatever you want basically. And you can go in as many times as you want per week with that unlimited. And then the other place to eat on campus, which is Gallagher Center, which has Poblanos, the Galley Grove, like that kind of thing, and Subway and Tim Hortons, you'll get like Galley Gold, which is kind of like our money here on campus. So you'll get some money on that side too. The other one is where you get a little bit less swipes, so about 12 swipes per week. And then you get more Galley Gold, so then you spend more time. It's basically whatever fits your schedule and what fits your personality. If you're a person that likes to sit down and eat all the time and like have 3 meals a day, that kind of thing, maybe going to the dining commons and having that unlimited swipe option is best for you. Or if you're more of the grab and go kind of person and rushing to get to class and to club meeting, maybe Galley Gold is what is best for you, since that's really the student hub. So again, we offer so many great food options. I always love Bravo Express, getting smoothies almost every time before my class. And just the food option, the food has been great too. So Ben.
Thanks, Jaden. I can tell you this, as an employee, unfortunately, even though maybe this will cue something up, I don't have a meal plan myself, but I have on several occasions gone over to the dining commons and paid for my lunch over there, because it is different from what you will see at a lot of college campuses across the country. So definitely worth the experience. I'm big fan of the pizza. They have pizza every single day and ice cream. So it's kind of weird. I'm out of college and I'm still putting on a freshman 50. So not good. The next question that I'm going to put out there, I'm going to have Janelle, one of our admissions counselors, address. And the question was, once I'm accepted to NU, how long do I have to commit? So Janelle, if you want to address that.
Yeah, absolutely. First and foremost, hi everyone. The short answer to that question is we want you to make a decision prior to or by May 1st. That is the nationally recognized decision day. That being said, we as admissions counselors, we are going to be working with you from day one. So the minute you express interest, you're going to have access to us as far as answering any questions or getting you in contact with people who are going to answer those questions for you. But I'm sorry. You are going to want to make a decision by May 1st. So I would say if we're going on a school schedule, I would say anywhere from you hearing about your acceptance to May 1st, we want to work with you. But we are willing to work with you even after. I'm actually working with a student right now who just got their acceptance. So we are able to work with you as well.
Yeah, that's a great point to know. May 1st is that national deadline, but again, we have students that are still trying to make those decisions, especially right now with everything that has happened, some plans being shifted. So we are willing to work with you all the way up until really classes start. We don't want to really wait till that long because it makes things really rushed at the end. We don't want to miss anything. So just be in contact with us. We, ultimately, our admissions team, I think, is unique from many others because we are here and our goal is to help you find the best fit. Right? We want you, we're biased. We love NU. We want you to be here, of course, but we want to help you through this process truly from step one till the process is finished. So I'm going to turn it over to the next question, which was somebody asked if anybody just had a funny story or something to share from NU. And I'm actually going to turn that back to our alum, Cheyenne.
Yeah, so my funny story, learn from my mistakes. Just to back up some of the things that Bridget and Kim Fenton were talking about when it comes to residence life. So I dormed my freshman year. I lived in the town of Tonawanda at the time, so about a 20-minute drive, but I still wanted that on-campus experience. So I dormed freshman year, loved it, but decided sophomore year maybe I should try and save some more money because I knew I wanted to go to law school, and law school is not cheap. So sophomore year, I commuted and quickly realized my mistake. So I ended up coming back and living in the apartments my junior and senior year. And again, that's not unique to myself. I know of many students who, after the 2-year residency requirement, will move off campus, but closer in the Niagara Falls area. And those friends of mine were always at my apartment. It was just the hub of campus is on campus. So learn from my mistakes. Even if you think you're close to Niagara and you think you might commute, really consider dorming just because the experience is so amazing. You'll still be able to stay in contact with your friends. And it's really, like Kim said, an experience. You're never going to get it in your life. Once in a lifetime. I miss it all the time. I'm sure Bridget does as well. So yes, that's my funny story.
Thanks for sharing, Cheyenne. I'm sure we all have, funny stories along the way. I know when I first came here, I'm originally from Nebraska, and I remember walking around campus for my interview. Of course, I'm from Nebraska, and I parked completely on the wrong side of campus to walk across, and somebody saw me, and they said, "Can we help you find where you're looking for?" And I was like, "I'm looking for the admissions office. I need to go over there. I have an interview this afternoon." And I just remember, they said, "You must be the guy from Nebraska." And I was like, I don't know if that's written on me or what's going on, but it was just kind of funny. I was kind of labeled at first as this guy from Nebraska, but that was because their campus atmosphere, people, they cared about what was going on in other offices and talking. And so it was really exciting for me to be known, right away that I was there and people kind of knew me. So the next question, I know there's been a couple questions specific to nursing, and as she mentioned, she is kind of our liaison in our office. So I am going to swing it back to my better half in the admissions office, my co-director, Stephanie Bushkowski.
Thanks, Ben. What is the question?
That's totally my fault. One of the questions was regarding the clinical settings, and then the other one, which I think you might have addressed, what was transferring into the program and how that might look.
Okay, great. So it was transferring in. Yes, you do have the opportunity, if you are not offered a seat right away as a freshman, to apply to the nursing program later on. So don't hesitate, in terms of that, if that were to be the case. But like I mentioned before, please, if you don't have those ideal requirements that I mentioned, don't let that stop you from applying. Really just, kind of like I said, with the selling yourself a little bit, especially have some experience and things like that, it's really gonna be very helpful for you. But yes, that option, of course, is there for you if you would like. And as for clinical, so the nursing program as well, which is something important to know, it is a direct entry program. So one thing you need to be very cautious of when you're looking at nursing programs and nursing schools, you may very well get accepted to the school. You don't necessarily get accepted into the nursing program. So that's something you really want to be aware of, that's the case. Then, you can apply later. You're not guaranteed a seat, and that's not the case with us. When you get accepted into nursing, it's directly into nursing, and you begin right away as a freshman. What's great is it's a nice small cohort of students, like I mentioned, 90 or so, and you're working with them, pretty rigorous programs, and you have the support of that group when you enter in, all through the 4 years. We actually even try, I mean, Kim can correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure we even tried to put nursing students together in terms of dorming because it can really kind of support each other and getting yourself through that. But clinicals, yes. So we have, actually clinicals begin for the nursing students in sophomore year. So you get in there very early, which is great. We have wonderful relationships with the Catholic Health System and many of the, multiple hospitals that we have around the Buffalo area as well. And another thing too, quickly, I won't go on, not to drag it out a little bit to answer the question, but something that is on a lot of nursing students' minds is the NCLEX. That's the board exam that you take at the end when you're about to graduate. And we have something, we have a course where we work with Kaplan, and it completely helps the students get geared up to take that exam. Our pass rate is roughly about 85%, and it keeps increasing every year. It's a huge selling point for us, obviously. So what happens is it will not be the first time, like when you sit down for that NCLEX exam, you will have seen similar questions prior to that. They make sure that that's incorporated into the curriculum to really help you be ready and be successful when you're taking that exam. So that's something very important to know as well. But yeah, so please, like I said, I'm the final read on the nursing applications. So please, any kinds of questions that you have, reach out to me. I'm happy to help with anything that you need. So hopefully that helps. Thanks, Ben.
Thanks, Stephanie. First time doing the Q&A, and I forget to tell the person the question. So great job, Ben. I just noticed in the chat somebody asked about traditions. I'm going to second Jaden's comment. I obviously wasn't a student to be part in it, but I can tell you if grocery bingo were a thing as an adult, I would 100% be doing it, and my wife would be very appreciative. So what I'm going to do now is I would like to turn it back over to our Dean of Fun, Bill Newton. And I just wanted to ask you, I noticed one of the things that, and you did really well and we were a part of, was we shifted a lot of things to virtual when everything happened with what was going on. And I just wanted to maybe have you touch on some things that you guys did to shift and how you guys stayed connected with some of the students.
Sure. Okay. Thanks, Ben. Yeah, like everybody, right? It was you're here one day and the next day work from home and school from home, right? So we were able to work real closely with the best example I can come to mind is, and there were a lot of them, but the first one I'll say is with our campus programming board. And so we were able to get with our student board, which was about 8 or 9 students, and come together and say, okay, guys, what can we do to keep our students engaged? Because it was important, whether we are working from home, going to school from home online or in person, we always want at Niagara to have that engagement opportunity. So we took a lot of our programs that would have been in person and we made them virtual. So some examples, the biggest one is, and someone else asked about traditions. So one of our big traditions is called Niagara's Got Talent. So you probably know the show America's Got Talent, right? So it's kind of our version of it. And I think Ben has actually been a judge for us, so once or twice.
Yeah.
And so typically that's an in-person big event. We're talking 300, 400, 500 students. And it's essentially a student talent show where students can sing, dance, do comedy, just about any talent you can think of. And so we made that virtual, and you might think, well, how the heck do you do that? And so students were able to submit their talents, their videos, up until a certain deadline, and then we put them up to vote for all students and NU employees to vote. And so it really worked out awesome. We had over 25 submissions of talent, and the cool thing about it was a lot of them were talents that you couldn't do on a stage. Some of them were outside, just, I don't know, doing balance things you can't do in a 8 foot by 8 foot little stage. And so it was really cool, really great. We took our trivia nights that were in person, made them online. We had numerous game shows, opportunities. So over the course of a month, we were able to offer about 25, month and a half, about 25 virtual programs. And we were able to engage, up over 2,000 students. So it proved really well. And certainly going into this fall, we're going to be doing some in-person events on the smaller scale, but we're going to be right back at it with our virtual programs. And the cool thing is, as I'm sure a lot of us has, some of the virtual opportunities, even when we are back to whatever the new normal is going to be, we're going to keep those virtual opportunities because it's opportunities for us to reach students that maybe we couldn't otherwise. So whether that's a trivia night or a game show every once in a while, or even a program maybe during a Thanksgiving or a Christmas break, just to keep in touch with our students, it's something that we're going to do. So we've certainly learned some lessons, but we're excited for this upcoming semester with our own virtual programs.
That's awesome. Yeah, I know the last couple of years I have been a part of Niagara's Got Talent, and I'm trying to figure out whether I'm a Howie or a Simon. I don't have a scowl for a Simon, and I've got too much hair for Howie. So hopefully I get to come back and do a couple of different things. So what I want to do now, I want to take a moment here to address just a couple of things myself. The big question that was asked was what precautions, what dates are available, what precautions are being taken, and things regarding in-person visits. So when we first opened back up, we opened up just 2 dates for in-person visits to really make sure that we had all of our precautions in place, that we were doing things the right way, and we were doing them safely. And since then, we have been able to kind of open up to more days and availability. So I think starting either next week or the week after, we are going, every day of the week, there'll be in-person visits available. I believe there's 2 time slots, one in the early morning and then one afternoon. I think the link has been put onto the site a couple of times, so just go check that out, see what dates might be available. The first thing that we've done is we've obviously limited the number of people that we're having come into those visits, where we can typically have 4 or 5, maybe even 6 families come in for visits. We've really dropped it down, and we're right now about 10 people. So really, if you do that out, it's 2, maybe a 3rd family coming onto campus. And then when we go out for tours, the tours are usually being split out. So you'd have a much smaller group going out. Another piece that we're doing, following state guidelines and university guidelines, we do have ourselves, our tour guides, and then we ask all of our guests to have a mask on. And then across campus, we do have hand sanitizing stations available while you're out on tour. The tour guides have hand sanitizer with you, opening doors for you, like that. One of the things that was asked was, do you get to go into buildings? Yes, you do get to go into buildings. There have been some limitations. The biggest limitation right now is we're not going into dorms. And that's simply because that's where our students are living, and we want to limit the number of visitors going in. However, as Kim mentioned, we do have virtual tours for the dorms that are online that you can access. And then we also do a portion of that while you're here on campus as well, virtually. Down in our fireplace room, we put it up on the big screen for you to see. We kind of talk about it and go from there. And then throughout the year, we're also going to find some unique ways. As I mentioned, we're going to do some unique things this year. We're going to try and touch on ways that we can get our students to show off the dorms for students that come to visit. So be on the lookout for that. You may get it via text message, you may get it via email or something like that. So that's kind of where we're at with visits. Ultimately, the other piece to it is before you come, we are putting out a questionnaire ensuring that everybody that's coming has not been in contact, they're not waiting on any tests to see if they have potentially contracted COVID, anything like that. We're really trying to take all those steps. We're confirming all of our visits to ensure that we're not over capacity or anything like that. So we've been going now, I believe, for 2 weeks, and it has been awesome. We've gotten some really good feedback. It's been really good. So we're excited to be back in person. We're excited to see you on campus. I'm going to just throw a note out there. If you have any other questions, just to throw them in the chat, and we can address those really quickly. I'm going to swing one last one. I just noticed one that came in, and I'm hoping that maybe our provost could potentially address. Well, there's 2. One, there was asked about a studio art minor. I noticed that earlier as well, but then Maria just mentioned, can somebody talk about it as well? So I was going to see if maybe our provost could address a little bit of those.
Hey Ben, can you just check out for just a second on the last sentence? I missed the question.
So there were two questions that were put in the chat
Yep.
that maybe you could address. One, a student asked if
About studio art.
the studio art
Yep.
minor was still around. And then the second question was somebody was mentioning campus ministry. And I didn't know if you could speak on that.
Sure, I can address both those. So let me start with campus ministry. Obviously, campus ministry is not an academic program at NU, but it is a it is a really significant component of students who opt to take advantage of the spiritual dimensions of Niagara University. You can see Grace's has responded in the comments. Every year, there are at least 2 mission trips. I've been asked to go on those mission trips. I haven't been able to fit it into my schedule yet, but students and faculty and administrators and staff will travel to places around the country and provide services and support of those who are in need. Those trips often take place over intersessions, so the winter intersession or the spring break. And it's really a wonderful dimension of Niagara University life where, look, we expect our students, right, to not only excel academically, but also to have a commitment and a concern and a compassion for those who have less and who need more. And so we always believe here at Niagara that you should extend a helping hand and help people up the step, right? And so campus ministry and their work is a critical component of the university and university life. And I have great relationships with those who work in campus ministry and the Vincentians, who are the Catholic priests on campus, also work in campus ministry. And it is just, I don't know, it's to a great degree what makes NU NU. And so the question about studio art minor, I saw that as well. I'm going to look into that. I'm trying to think of who asked the question. I have to scroll back through, Ben. I think it was Amaya. Is that right? Amaya, maybe. It may be that we have suspended the studio art minor for this academic for the fall, given the complexities of COVID. But we'll look into what the status is of that minor. It's a minor that is something that has been available and active for a period of time. And so I just need to understand how we're managing it this fall. But I think it's all good to go, but I'm not quite certain. So we'll get back to you on that. Okay?
Awesome. Thank you, Tim. Well, what I want to do now, I just want to reiterate that if you have any other questions, if you know, this is my first time hosting the Q&A, so maybe I missed something in your chat. I put my email in there as well as my name. Please reach out. If I don't have the answer, I will direct you to somebody on campus that does. There's a ton of content there in the chat, emails, contacts, links, so please take a look at those. And just know that we're here to help. So if we weren't able to address your question here today, we will address it later on if you reach out to us and get in contact with us. So with that being said, I'm going to swing it back to Bridget Gorman, our wonderful host, and say thank you again for joining us.
That was a lot of helpful information. Thanks, Ben. I hope all of you found that beneficial. Since we're sure that you'll have a lot of additional questions, we do invite you to check out a series of videos that we're calling our virtual table talk. You can view these videos at niagara.edu/table-talk. I'm sure, Ben, could you pop that in the chat for them as well so they could refer to that too? Thanks so much. We've been discussing this a lot, and I've seen the chat blowing up with this as well. We've restarted offering in-person visits and tours on our beautiful campus. These are presented while adhering to social distancing and safety guidelines. They have been filling up extremely quickly, so please schedule your tour at niagara.edu/visit and check back regularly as we're adding new dates and times to keep up with our increasing demand. And again, please, please, please don't hesitate to reach out to admissions if you have any more questions about anything. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Please stay happy, healthy, and safe. We hope to see you at Niagara University soon. Take care.
Thanks, Bridget.